Religion can be a positive force offering community and comfort, but it's complicated. Religion can also negatively impact mental health. Let's have an open conversation about this. Millions struggle with faith and mental well-being. Let's shed light on this experience. Let's start with a big one: guilt and shame. Many religions emphasize sin and the idea that we are inherently flawed. This focus on self-reflection isn't inherently bad. We all make mistakes. But constantly feeling you're falling short can lead to pervasive guilt and shame. Imagine carrying that weight every day, feeling not good enough. It's exhausting and can lead to anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. If a friend constantly reminded you of your mistakes, would you want to spend time with them? So why do we do it to ourselves? Why internalize these messages? It's something to really think about. Hand in hand with guilt often comes fear, specifically, the fear of divine punishment. Many religions teach about a powerful deity who judges our every move, and for some, this can be terrifying. Imagine constantly worrying that your actions, thoughts, or even doubts could have eternal consequences. That kind of fear can be paralyzing. It can lead to obsessive-compulsive tendencies like scrupulosity. People struggling with scrupulosity might engage in excessive prayer, rituals, or acts of penance. They might constantly seek reassurance from religious leaders or spend hours dissecting religious texts for answers. It's like living with a constant, low-grade panic attack. And that kind of chronic fear can have a devastating impact on your mental health. Religion can negatively impact mental health through social exclusion and judgment. Some religious communities are rigid in their beliefs and expectations. Deviating from norms can lead to rejection, ostracism, or expulsion. Imagine being told that who you are is inherently wrong. Being shunned by loved ones cuts deep. It leads to loneliness and isolation. This can damage mental well-being. This one is particularly close to my heart. For individuals who identify as LGBTQ+, reconciling their sexuality or gender identity with their religious beliefs can be incredibly challenging. When your faith teaches that who you are is wrong or sinful, it creates a deeply painful internal conflict. You're essentially forced to choose between denying a fundamental part of yourself or facing rejection from your faith community. This can lead to depression, anxiety, self-harm, and even suicidal thoughts. It's a heartbreaking reality for many LGBTQ+ individuals raised in religious environments that condemn their existence. Have you ever heard of religious trauma syndrome? It's a real thing, and it's something we need to talk more about. RTS resembles post-traumatic stress disorder, affecting those who leave high-control religious groups. Imagine growing up, constantly told what to think, how to feel, and who to be. Questioning authority met with punishment, fear, and guilt as tools of control. Leaving is difficult, with lasting scars. Nightmares, flashbacks, anxiety, and struggle to trust others. It's the aftermath of spiritual abuse, and it's crucial we recognize it. We've talked about guilt, fear, and rejection, but internal conflict can also arise from cognitive dissonance. That mental discomfort you feel when your beliefs clash with your experiences or values. For example, someone raised with strict religious morals might struggle when they encounter scientific evidence that contradicts their beliefs, or they might wrestle with the hypocrisy they see within their religious community. This dissonance can be incredibly stressful because it forces you to confront the inconsistencies in your worldview. It's like trying to fit square pegs into round holes. It just doesn't work. And over time, that cognitive dissonance can lead to anxiety, depression, and a sense of existential unease. This next point is a tough one. Some religious teachings promote the idea that suffering is a necessary part of life, a test of faith, or even a punishment from a higher power. While this belief can provide comfort and meaning for some, for others, it can lead to a sense of fatalism and helplessness. If you believe that your suffering is predetermined or part of some grand divine plan, you might be less likely to seek help when you're struggling. You might resign yourself to a life of misery, believing that you're powerless to change your circumstances. This can be particularly dangerous when it comes to mental health issues because it prevents people from getting the professional help they need and deserve. We can't talk about religion's impact on mental health without addressing the elephant in the room: religious extremism. High-control religious environments, often characterized by charismatic leaders and rigid dogma, can be incredibly damaging to mental well-being. These groups often discourage critical thinking, enforce strict adherence to their beliefs, and foster paranoia about the outside world. They might isolate members from their families and friends, creating a sense of dependence on the group for all their emotional and social needs. This kind of indoctrination can lead to anxiety, depression, social isolation, and even radicalization. It's a complex issue with far-reaching consequences. Religion can be a source of comfort and connection, but it can also be a source of conflict, especially in relationships. Differences in religious beliefs between partners, family members, or friends can create tension, disagreements, and even estrangement. Imagine navigating the complexities of a romantic relationship where you and your partner have vastly different views on faith. Or imagine the pain of being alienated from your family because you've chosen to leave the religion you were raised in. These situations can be incredibly emotionally draining and can lead to feelings of loneliness, isolation, and resentment. And finally, let's talk about the limits of religious coping. While faith can be a source of strength and resilience in difficult times, it's important to recognize that it's not a substitute for professional mental health care. Some religious communities discourage seeking professional help for mental health issues, believing that prayer or faith alone should be sufficient. While faith can be a valuable part of the healing process, it's not a magic cure-all. Mental illness is complex and often requires professional intervention. Delaying or avoiding necessary treatment can have serious consequences. Wow, this was a heavy one, wasn't it? But it's so important that we talk about these things. Religion is powerful, and its impact on mental health is complex. It can be a source of comfort and resilience. If you're struggling, you're not alone. Seek help and prioritize your mental well-being. There are resources available to support you. Remember, your mental health matters. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Video production by Sam Molina utilizing InVideo AI.